Hello, it is Thursday at 10 o'clock, which means it's time for the Hospitality Hotline. My name is Catherine Sasser. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, so first up, as always, you can submit a question live while we're doing this. You can also submit a question on our website, link in profile. Honestly, wherever you can find me, send me your question. I sent out kind of a request this morning for questions and have gotten so many good ones that I'm actually going to push pause and kind of group them together and do some of those starting next week. But keep them coming all the time, all the questions, whatever you've got. What we are going to talk about today is Halloween hospitality. We are decorated for Halloween. Halloween is in 2 weeks from today. We were having a conversation here about Halloween and kind of some of the hospitality challenges, and there's some good ones. So today we are only going to talk about hospitality Halloween questions. But if you have a question about something else, send it my way. Last week I announced the roast chicken challenge. It is underway. I started it officially yesterday. I started posting videos. I will finish posting the start to finish videos today. Yes, I'm going to save it to a story highlight so you can refer to it later. Yes, I am going to answer all the excellent questions that you guys are asking. I'm loving it. Like, you're giving me all the things that I need to know to talk about in the coming weeks. And yes, I do want to see your finished photos. I'm having the most fun. You guys are really making this exactly what I wanted it to be, which is let's learn to do this by doing it together. So roast chicken challenge, blog post is up, recipes on the blog, all that. Okay, today is all about Halloween. And I want to start by, I have kind of taken the things that we were talking about and formed them into questions. So we're going to start with this. I always feel stressed out on Halloween. How can I enjoy the evening more? Totally get it. Let's start here. I have 4 children, and right now I have 2 in high school, 1 in middle school, 1 in elementary school. But there was a season of life where, we had a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old. So I remember the little stage, I remember the middle stage. We're kind of in the older stage now. And one of the things that has always helped me enjoy the evening, because it can be stressful to get everybody in their costume after getting everybody home from school. And most of the time, Halloween falls on a school night, which means there's probably, like a little bit of the normal stuff you need to do, like perhaps someone has homework, everybody's gonna need a lunch in the morning, just kind of the normal after school stuff. And so on top of that, to get in costume, you're gonna need to feed people dinner. You also may start having people like knock on your door super early. All these factors are swirling. And I had more than a couple years where I just felt like I hated the whole thing because it was so stressful. And then what I figured out is I give myself the gift of knowing that I like it when I know what's coming next and I know what time things need to be done. So if you saw the video last night of my roast chicken schedule, I kind of use that in just about everything. So I encourage you to map out, either mentally or literally, on a piece of paper, kind of a timeline for the evening. Because when you start to back things up, sometimes you have more time than you think, but oftentimes you have less. So for example, we have a daughter that does not get home from school until 4:30. Well, if we're planning to head out at 5:30, that's a crunch. So we got to get people home from school. I want to serve dinner. We're having people over, and I can just feel my anxiety like elevating as I even describe that. So for me, it's knowing we're going to eat at this time. I'm going to allow 30 minutes to help everybody get in their costumes. And as my kids get older, they need less and less help actually getting into costume. But the year when they were all, cute little, I don't know, they were all birds one year. Like, it was kind of elaborate and I needed to help them, whatever. But give yourself time to do that so you can enjoy it. Schedule in some time to take pictures while it's still light outside, and just decide the things that you want to do and then put a time to them, and then you kind of have a roadmap. So that's one approach on how to enjoy the evening more. Next question. Do I have to say yes when my kids ask to go trick-or-treating somewhere else? This was not a factor for us until recently. As our children got older, they of course love being with their friends, and we love that they love being with their friends. And we have gotten more than one invitation for them to go somewhere else and trick or treat, not in our neighborhood. And I'm not talking like we live next to each other, can we do it? I'm talking like Sally wants me to come to her home, which is 15 minutes away, and spend Halloween trick or treating in her neighborhood. There's not really a hard and fast answer for this, but how we approached this is we decided, and you need to do the same, decide on your ground rules. Is Halloween a big deal for your family, or is Halloween kind of a, it is what it is, we just kind of do it differently every year? For our family, for a number of reasons, Halloween is a big family holiday, meaning we like to be together. I value all 6 of us being together on Halloween. There are other holidays and other celebrations where I feel very much more, if you're here, great, and if you're not, it's not ideal. But Halloween is one of them where I want the 6 of us to be together. We welcome everybody. We welcome your friends. We welcome our neighbors. We welcome other people. But I pretty much want our children to trick or treat with us. So this was one of the ground rules that we decided, and we have communicated that with our children way on the front end, not the night before, but they kind of all know we're gonna be together on Halloween. Now, we've had other kids join us. We welcome that, but when my kids get invited to go to another neighborhood and trick or treat somewhere else, our family's answer is no. And that is to say yes to being together. Now, that's not a one-size-fits-all answer, but it is a one-size-fits-all approach. Decide with you and your partner what Halloween is gonna look like, and decide before it's an issue. Decide when they're little and nobody's getting invited over, so that when they get to high school and the question comes up, you have kind of thought through it and talked about it, and and your children know, and you and your partner are on the same page about what's important and why it's important. And then you just follow in line with what you've decided. So you do not have to say yes when your children get invited somewhere else, but you do need to decide what's important and follow through. Next question. We are having people over for Halloween. Hooray, we are too. What do I serve them, and how do I make it work in the context of trick-or-treating? Number one tricky thing about Halloween is, particularly if you're dealing with littles, you want to go trick-or-treating while it's still daylight probably, or before it's 9 o'clock at night, but you also need everyone to eat a meal so that they're not hungover from all the sugar, and blood sugar is just spiking down. This is our approach. We use Halloween as the time to make, regardless of the weather, our first batch of chili. We don't have chili before Halloween, and we always have chili on Halloween. I have a great chili recipe. It's on the blog if you need one. It's the only chili recipe you'll ever need, but it has become our standing thing of what we serve for dinner on Halloween. I make an enormous pot of it the day before. I get home from work, I take it out of the fridge, put it on the stove on low, and let it start to warm. I set out bowls, a jar of spoons, napkins, cheddar cheese, sour cream, Fritos, a ladle. I put it all kind of in the stove area, and dinner is served. And it is if you're my child, I need you to eat before we go out. And if you're someone else, chili's on the stove. Help yourself whenever you want to help yourself. And I think a lot of people eat chili on Halloween for that reason. It's easy to serve to a crowd. It's very low maintenance. And so that is my approach. I don't serve anything else with it. We had one year where someone wanted to bring a salad. Great, bring a salad, that's fine. But I don't really fuss about an involved thematic menu. I'm not really throwing a party. I'm just hosting trick-or-treating, and I want everyone to have access to food. So chili is our go-to, and I make it simple. I make it self-serve, and when they're done, they put their bowl in the dishwasher and clean up. It's fairly simple. I do not think you need dessert on Halloween because we're eating candy, so that makes it really simple. And then for beverages, whatever you want, bottled water. Sometimes we do a fun cocktail for the adults to take out while we walk around. Other years we have not. But it really should be as simple as possible because it's not really the point. The dinner is not the point. It's just there to provide protein so nobody loses or passes out after having all the candy. So that is my menu suggestion. Next question. Do you ever get too old to trick or treat? We were kind of having a debate about this, and we landed on the side of what's at stake. If you have an older child or an adult, maybe a college-age child, I don't know. My oldest is a junior in high school. I mean, don't tell anybody, but they still love to get in costume and go trick or treat, and I'm not about to kill that joy with my cynicism of you're too old. I think it's fantastic. I think if you have children that are still into putting on a costume and want to go ring the doorbell and say trick or treat, have at it. More joy, the better. Like, I love it. My husband and I still dress up. We don't trick or treat, whatever. But I think if you're technically a child and you're still into it, I don't think you ever outgrow trick or treating. I think that is something that could be encouraged. Particularly, I love it because my younger children get to watch my older children be with them and get excited and get into it. And that's the important part to me, is that we're all together and everybody's participating. Now, if they decided they didn't want to, I would not force them, but I'm not going to tell them you're too old to do this. I think if you want to do it, you should do it. Next question. Is it okay to trick or treat without dressing up? No, ma'am, it is not. Do not come ring my doorbell wearing your jeans and a t-shirt and just looking for free candy. That is not the heart of Halloween. The heart of Halloween is we have an arrangement. You dress up, I give you candy. I don't care how old you are, but if you just show up and you're just sort of working the system, that is not good Halloween etiquette, and I think you need to have a costume on. And don't tell me your costume is a high school student. That doesn't count. I want to see a little bit of effort, just a smidge, but just walking up to a door in street clothes and asking for candy kind of misses the point. Okay, next question. Is it okay to turn the lights off and not answer the door? 100% yes. Healthy boundaries all the way. Let's say you don't want to celebrate Halloween. Let's say for whatever reason, maybe your children are out of the home, maybe it's not something you enjoy, it's a choice you make, that's okay. Turn those lights off though, and make it really obvious that you're not here for that. It's kind of an understood, I think it's kind of an understood code that if the lights are on, you're in it, and if the lights are off, you're not really participating. And I think that's fine. We tend to, start with the lights on, and then as the evening progresses, there reaches a point where either we're out of candy, or it's time for everybody to go to bed, or the night is done, the lights go off. Now, you will still probably continue to get a few people ringing the doorbell. You're just gonna have to let them walk away. If you open the door, you're kind of like still available, so just make yourself unavailable, turn the light off, be done. How do I get my guests to leave at the end of an evening? Well, you're gonna have to ask them to leave. You're gonna have to start to shut it down. Most of the time, like we talked about, it's not your responsibility to just indefinitely host people, particularly if you have children or they have children and it's a school night. You may have different parameters for that. We usually tend to end no later than 9 o'clock. That's everybody staying up a smidge past their bedtime. But we just start to shut it down, and we let people know. The people that we have over kind of know because they've done this with us for years. But if we had a new person, we would say, yeah, we're gonna meet at the house at 5:30, we're gonna eat chili, we're gonna head out by 6 o'clock. So if you wanna join us for trick-or-treating, we're gonna head out at 6, and then we're gonna be shut down by 8:30 or 9. Just setting expectations goes a really long way. So it's not rude. You're doing a great job hosting by saying, we're all done here. So it is okay to do that. Next question, how much candy do I need to purchase? This is tricky. It 100% depends on the neighborhood in which you live. 10 years ago, we lived, Hurley House is named after Hurley Avenue. We lived on Hurley Avenue, which is a historic neighborhood, a part of town where people, drive in to trick or treat, and it is like hundreds of people, and you are you're not even at your door, you're kind of at the sidewalk. You're just handing out like piece after piece after piece after piece. And in that instance, we would buy probably like 5 or 6 Costco sized bags of candy, put it in a giant bowl, refill it, and when the candy was gone, we were kind of done. Other people would buy 20 bags of candy, and when it was gone, it was gone. In our current neighborhood, it is more about quality over quantity. You really have to work for the candy. The houses are far apart. Most of them are kind of on a hill. So we're like, we're working, and everybody who participates in trick-or-treating, like our children will get like full-size candy bars or elaborately packaged treat situations. I mean, it's really like above and beyond. So we buy probably 1 or maybe 2 bags of nice candy. And again, when it's gone, we're done handing out candy. So it depends on where you live, what the vibe is in your neighborhood, but it's not your responsibility as a homeowner or a participant in Halloween trick-or-treating to provide an endless supply of candy. Buy an appropriate amount that you feel comfortable with, and then when it's gone, we're done handing out candy. Now, at that point, you do need to turn off the lights and let people know that you're not doing that anymore. But decide how much you want to do, go for it, and then be done. Okay, last question, and this is from personal experience. My dog is a barker. What do I do? If you've had a conversation with me about the animal that lives in our home, Henry is not my favorite. My children love him. My husband likes him. I neither like nor love him, mostly because the dog barks all the time. Not all the time, but if something is happening outside, the dog is barking very loudly. So someone comes to the door, he's going crazy. And so you can imagine Halloween is like a non-stop barking situation. It's distracting for the people that are inside the home. It's a little bit scary for small children that are outside the door, and he tends to get really, really excited and worked up when we open the door and there's someone standing there, and so it can be a little like, put the dog away. Put him away. We put him in his crate in our bedroom behind a closed door because he does the thing, and that's just as distracting. So for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, we put Henry somewhere where he is not going to frighten or startle or distract or otherwise ruin a lovely Halloween. You could go the extra mile if you have a difficult pet and board them overnight if you wanted to, but that's not necessary. But do be aware, if you have a difficult animal, it's your responsibility as that animal's owner to either control, confine, or make your guests and these strangers that are going to be approaching your home all night. Your dog does not understand Halloween. To your dog, this is a bunch of strangers just continually approaching the home. And if they don't react pleasantly to that, you need to remove that dog, because that nobody wants their child to be traumatized on Halloween by the person whose dog was just overstimulated and didn't have an exit strategy. That's my 2 cents on that. I love animals. I just tend to not love my animal. So take care of that barker. Okay, those are all the questions I had about Halloween hospitality. We do have another week before Halloween, so if you think of something and you want to send it my way that's Halloween specific, I'll be happy to address that next week. But get excited. Next week on the Hospitality Hotline, I have decided that we're going to have a theme, because I received a question this morning that I'm so excited to answer, and it's on the topic of new baby hospitality. If you have had children, if you are thinking about having children, if you are about to have a baby and have some questions about new baby hospitality, send me your questions. We are going to have a lot of fun with this topic. The good, the bad, the ugly. And here's something I want to say. I'm not going to say your name. If you send me a question, I will protect your identity and not say your name. I think I said a couple people's first names on the first week, and that might have made you think that if you submit a question with your name, I'm going to say your name. I realize now that most people who are submitting these difficult questions do not want to be identified online. Excuse me. I 100% get it. So ask me the question about the difficult aspect of new babydom and hospitality and what to do in those tricky situations that may involve family or friends or meals or boundaries or all of the above. And we're going to talk about that next week. You can submit your question online. You can submit it on Instagram. You can DM me, however you can get it to me, send me your question. Okay, that's all for this week. Stay tuned for more chicken challenge updates, and I want to hear from you on that. I've got a lot of great follow-ups and answers to all the questions you've been asking about chickens and Halloween. Have a great day.